Rain and storms have returned to the state. When's our next round of storms going to arrive, and who's under threat? Let's talk about it in this Hump Day edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Hi there, I'm Texas Storm Chaser's Builder-in-Chief David Reimer. It's Wednesday, the 23rd of April, 2025. Storms are back. They began yesterday afternoon out around Fort Stockton, Fort Stockton as usual, and then we had some storms out in West Texas, the Panhandle, with some baseball-sized hail. Wind gusts over 70 miles an hour, had a tornado warning near Matador, Texas last evening. Storms congealed into clusters overnight, which then proceeded to move across a majority of the state this morning. I'll give them credit. They actually did manage to congeal into one large cluster all the way from the Red River down towards San Antonio, bringing a lot of folks some much-needed rainfall, but also some strong winds and hail at times. At the time of this recording, those storms have weakened into mostly showers with some lightning, so technically still storms, but nothing severe at this point. That's moving east across the Arklatex, East Texas, Southeast Texas, bringing y'all some rainfall. A couple of those storms may become a little rambunctious with maybe some gusty winds at times, but widespread severe weather not expected. Here's the forecast fire danger over the next few days from the Texas A&M Forest Service. For the next several days, the high fire danger will be concentrated across the borderland of far west Texas, the Trans-Pecos, the Davis-Guadalupe Mountains, and a bit of the western Texas Panhandle. Everyone else, low to moderate wildfire danger is forecast. For today, this will be for mostly this afternoon and evening into early Thursday morning. Another round of thunderstorms expected to materialize in portions of western Texas. Just like yesterday, we'll likely see the first storms of the day fire up around or just west of Fort Stockton around 3 p.m. Central Time. Those will proceed to move slowly off to the east with the potential of large to very large hail, damaging winds, maybe a brief tornado. Otherwise, isolated to scattered storms possible across the Permian Basin, West Texas, and the Texas Panhandle. Now, we're just going to have to see where these storms do end up firing. There's no real source of upper-level lift, so a lot of these are just going to be firing off local, ingredients per se, mesoscale stuff. Could be boundaries left over from storms yesterday. Could just be, where they decide to pop up, but once they get going, some of these storms will likely be severe with the threat of very large hail and localized damaging wind gusts, lightning, heavy rain. Tornado threat today is very low, but not completely zero. Just like last night, we could see some storms grow upscale into clusters that could move east or east-southeast towards, the western half of the state tonight. We'll look at that here in just a moment. And we do note the Storm Prediction Center is highlighting parts of East Texas, Southeast Texas through the remainder of the morning, early this afternoon, maybe for some pockets of hail and stronger wind gusts. So for now, we're behaving. So we go into Thursday. The potential for isolated severe thunderstorms, the Panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin, western two-thirds of Oklahoma, Texoma, western North Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley. We may see parts of this upgraded to that level 2 risk for scattered severe storms as confidence increases on where we may actually see some of these storms develop tomorrow, but plenty of uncertainty with that once again with a lack of upper level lift, meaning what happens today will greatly impact tomorrow since both days are going to be generally driven by local ingredients like boundaries or remnant outflow boundaries from prior day storms. Just like today, strongest storms could produce large hail, damaging winds, heavy rain, and lightning. Here's the high-res rapid refresh model for today, tonight, into Thursday. You can see as we go through the afternoon, that cluster of showers and storms across the eastern third of the state is expected to make it into Louisiana, leaving most of Texas on the dry side going into the early to mid-afternoon. As we head into this afternoon, isolated scattered storm development is expected across parts of the Permian Basin into West Texas, even the western Big Country. Some of those storms could be severe with large hail, damaging winds, maybe a brief tornado, and heavy rain. This model tends to keep the Panhandle mostly dry this afternoon and evening. We'll see if that happens. It's possible, but given the fact a lot of this activity could just pop up thanks to while warmer temperatures or boundaries left over from storms yesterday, it's going to be more of a wait and see mode. We should be able to at least get some hint it's possible based on cumulus developing off satellite imagery and, the hour or two before storm initiation. But if this model is right, we're probably not going to see as widespread of a cluster of storms tonight as we did last night. And the storms that do develop will generally move slowly east-southeast. This model does not suggest another widespread cluster tonight. It shows some storms continuing into the late evening across the Edwards Plateau in southern Concho Valley before dissipating early tomorrow morning. So we go into tomorrow afternoon and evening. You're going to see this model is more rambunctious with thunderstorm development east of the dry line across parts of the Panhandle, West Texas, into the Permian Basin, firing off storms that then do try to develop into a cluster across northwest Texas Texoma. If that happens, could have a cluster of storms move southeast towards North Texas, heading into late Thursday night and Friday morning. And again, some of these storms could be on the strong to severe side with hail, and damaging wind gusts. We'll provide updates as needed, but again, don't be surprised if we get a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather tomorrow, and we're dealing with another active day and evening. Now, as we go into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the potential will exist for more storms across western parts of Texas, along with eastern New Mexico. Friday, we may see some storms across the Panhandle, eastern New Mexico, and West Texas. The European weather model is pretty supportive of some storms moving in Saturday morning from New Mexico. We'll keep an eye on that and see just exactly how that plays out. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to be a lot like today and tomorrow. We're not going to have a real significant source of upper level lift. The jet stream's actually fairly weak over us right now. We've just got a lot of moisture to work with, and we're seeing storms fire off boundaries left over from previous rounds of storms. So those sources of lift will play critical roles in where and who gets rain chances over the next few days. Now, as we go into next week, we're going to see a pretty impressive upper level storm system move into the central and southern United States on Monday and Tuesday, and that could provide a more organized source of lift heading into Monday afternoon, Monday night, into Tuesday and Tuesday night across at least the northern half of Texas, plus areas and states to our north, which could lead to a return of thunderstorm chances. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. The Storm Prediction Center is highlighting portions of Texoma, North Texas, and Northeast Texas next Monday and Tuesday for a risk of scattered severe thunderstorms. Here are the forecast rain totals over the next 5 days across the southern United States, including the Gray Lone Star State. Looking like we're going to see an additional 1/2 to maybe 2 inches of rain across the Panhandle, West Texas, Northwest Texas, into Texoma, North Texas, Northeast Texas, with some rain chances, especially today. Continuing across the eastern third of the state, could have locally higher amounts and some localized flooding. At this point, it looks like most of South Texas, the Big Bend, and the borderland in far west Texas will miss out on any appreciable precipitation over the next 5 days. So, hey, you know what? At least we're getting some rain where we need it, and hopefully that'll put at least a little water in some of these lakes before we get into the summer months. Here's today's high temperature forecast. We're going to go through all these pretty quickly. We're looking at mostly 70s and 80s across the state, low 90s down the Edwards Plateau and the Rio Grande Plains. Similar story for tomorrow with upper 70s to lower 90s across Texas. Friday afternoon, cool fronts starting to move into the northern panhandle. That's going to bring temperatures down a bit, highs in the upper 60s there in places like Dumas, Dalhart, up into Perryton, Canadian Pampa, with 90s down in the Permian Basin, the Big Bend, down into the Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains. Southern parts of the Big Bend could be in the triple digits. So we head into Saturday. Slightly cooler West Texas, highs in the low to mid 70s. We're still looking at mostly upper 70s to mid 90s across the state of Texas. And then as we get into Sunday, temperatures approaching the triple digits across the Rio Grande Plains, South Texas, the Edwards Plateau, into the Permian Basin and the Big Bend. The remainder of Texas generally in the mid to upper 80s to lower 90s. Well, with that, that's going to be your Wednesday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. We'll be keeping a close eye on storm chances going into this afternoon and evening. Just like we did yesterday, we'll have frequent updates on social media, the Texas Storm Chasers weather blog, and the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. We've got chasers out and about today. It looks like we're going to have another live stream out of the Fort Stockton area this afternoon. So be sure to tune in to the Texas Storm Chasers YouTube channel, our website, our mobile app, for live storm chasing video later this afternoon and evening from Storm Chaser Adam Lucio. As always, we appreciate you watching our daily Texas weather roundups. If you appreciate these, hit that thumbs up button. That really helps us out in the magical land of YouTube. It encourages them to show the video to other folks who may likewise be interested in receiving daily weather updates. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Get notified when we publish new videos and new content. We'll be back bright and early on Thursday with another edition of the Texas Weather Roundup and video updates later today as necessary. Have a great Wednesday. Enjoy the rain while you can. As always, God bless.